Okay, I'm catching onto the drift now. Okay, I understand how tariffs work. Okay, I am now officially the tariffs Matrix Neo. Okay, I'm like Neo from the Matrix, except it's like seeing all the tariffs as like numbers in code. All right, bro. If you said to MAGA right now, hey, can we get any volunteers to suck Donald Trump's dick? The most homophobic people would be lining up at the White House, okay, immediately. Guys, remember, okay, it's fine to have tariffs for things that you really want to protect, okay? Like if your country is like 90% cow farming, of course you're going to be putting a tariff on cows going into your country. Why the fuck would you need that when your country is primarily known for cow farming? Why the fuck would you need to import other countries' cows into your country if 90% of your country's industry is cow farming, right? So that's an example of a good tariff because you want people in the country to actually buy the country's own fucking cows, okay? That's the point. But the problem is if you apply tariffs broadly, it's never a good thing. It's never something that you actually want to do, right? So that's going to be the point I'm making. I'm so stoked to bring back coal mining to the USA. Are you ready to bring back chicken farming?
So every single American car has foreign parts.
Right. You're going to see, yes, absolutely. And you're going to see higher costs for all those. Now, let me game this out for you because Jake is so right to think about it this way. If you have an exhausted consumer who is already worried about affordability for cars and car insurance, by the way, because car insurance will also go up if cars cost more, and cars get more expensive, people buy less. So the automakers do what? They make fewer cars and they actually are producing less. When they produce less, they lose a shift. Who loses?
Wait.
Happen if the economy, if equity markets are tanking?
I mean, I was looking at the numbers this morning, Christine, and of course I can't remember it off the top of my head, but in addition to almost half of the cars that are purchased in the United States being foreign cars, more than half of American cars have foreign parts.
Yeah. The most American car I can find is 80%. It's assembled in the U.S. and it's 80% of the product in it is American and 20% comes from someplace else.
So every single American car has foreign parts.
Right. You're going to see, yes, absolutely. And you're going to see higher costs for all those. Now, let me game this out for you because Jake is so right to think about it this way. If you have an exhausted consumer who is already worried about affordability for cars and car insurance, by the way, because car insurance will also go up if cars cost more, and cars get more expensive, people buy less. So the automakers do what? They make fewer cars and they actually are producing less. When they produce less, they lose a shift. Who loses first? The United Auto Workers, the workers who are putting those cars together because now you're making fewer cars. And so you have
Which means you're going to lay people off. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm catching onto the drift now, okay? I understand how tariffs work, okay? I am now officially the tariffs Matrix Neo, okay? I'm like Neo from the Matrix, except it's like seeing all the tariffs as like numbers in code. All right. At least Israel canceled all tariffs, right? Yes. Okay. I understand. I understand. Okay. I'm a fucking genius. Okay. Is what's going on. Okay. So because parts of cars are now more expensive, less cars are going to be made and less cars are going to be bought because manufacturers, in order to avoid profit losses, they're going to be raising the price of the cars to consumers. And in turn, a lot of Americans are going to hold off on buying new cars. And if they don't buy new cars, then you suddenly don't need a lot of the auto workers as well. So what's going to happen is that a lot of the factory, manager people, they're going to be firing and laying off a lot of audio worker, like auto workers. A lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. All right. So what's actually going to happen? Is, even though Trump will say like, oh, I'm going to bring the jobs back. I'm going to protect all these unions. I'm going to protect like the auto workers. That's not true whatsoever. Okay. If anything, they're going to lose their jobs. Cars are going to get more expensive and we all just lose. And what are we losing for? Basically nothing, actually. Like literally just fucking nothing. There's no reason for us to be doing this. There's no reason for us to be having these tariffs unless you want to destabilize the economy of the United States. Because you see, if you destabilize the economy of the United States, now you can convince them that, oh yeah, you shouldn't have a democracy. Because a democracy enacts changes very slowly. What you need is one person that holds all the fucking legislative power, and that's Donald Trump. So that I think that's what's going to be happening. And through a combination of lies, misinformation, and audience capture, I think this is how they're going to be doing things. So yeah, that's my theory at the very least. Okay, and I feel as though I'm correct.
The tariffs could be a chilling effect on the very thing that the president is trying to revive in the United States.
Wait, I remember, this woman is absolutely ridiculous. This woman is like the ultra Zionist, right? Wait. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, we'll see.
Sargon, the senior advisor for US Agency for Global Media, Carrie Lake,
so
and the author and Financial Times columnist, Gillian Tett. Well, welcome to all of you. Gillian, let me start with you as the presumptive financial brain of the panel. Put it in simple terms here. After all the conjecture, the rumor mills, the threats and so on, have we just ended up here with Trump saying it's going to be reciprocal tariffs across the board? And as a principle, actually, what is wrong with that?
Well, I think that Trump models his political style on the wrestling ring. Anyone who's been to a wrestling match in America knows there's a lot of manufactured aggro, dramatic moves, name calling. But often the audience knows that's partly manufactured because there'll then be some kind of, quasi-victory or a climb down. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of theatrics, a lot of drama. There is still a chance that he will go forth now and strike deals with other countries to water down the tariffs. But thus far, it does look...
I just spent $50 on Zenless Zone Zero. It's fucking over, okay? You guys better donate $50 at the very least today, so then I can make back the money that I just spent on Zenless.
As if he's throwing down the gauntlet to the rest of the world. For him to describe this as reciprocal comes out of a theory amongst some of his advisors that after World War II, the US embarked on an uneven trade pattern to enable the rest of the world to develop quickly in the name of peace, and they think that's basically run past its sell-by date. Now, in some cases, they may be right, but imposing tariffs in this way is unlikely to rebalance trade in the way that Trump actually wants. It's unlikely to unleash this great big boom or economic boom that he talks about. It's much more likely to unleash...
I'm just going to say this again, all right, for people who forget. Tariffs are bad. They're bad. And if you're going to implement... well, they're not necessarily bad, but if you're going to be implementing tariffs, you got to know what the fuck you're doing, okay? Like, I already spent my money this month on VTuber. Aw. Like, again, tariffs are best when we're talking about industries a country wants to protect. Like, for example, if the import is less expensive, but you want to be the one country that wants to protect a specific import, a specific export or something, right? You do actually want to make tariffs. But typically what countries do is that they will raise tariffs on very specific things. The reason why the United States don't have tariffs all that much is because we don't need it. That's why. There's no industries here that we really want to protect. I know lots of people will say, oh, but we want to protect the car manufacturing industry. Oh, we want to protect like X and Y. That's not true. Nope. That's not what the market says. The market doesn't give a fuck about these. All right. I'm sorry. You got to move on. We all got to move on sometime. Okay. No, the market doesn't give a fuck about these. All right. So this is why, if you have these nincompoops, all right, these absolutely moronic morons, these second grade 8 IQ first graders, then yeah, of course it's not Gucci. It's not Gucci, my Mucci, you know?
Stagflation. Because the reality is today the world trading system is so interconnected that taking this kind of unilateral move is highly likely to push up prices for American consumers as well as elsewhere in the world. And the sheer uncertainty and shock and the dismantling of these trade networks is almost certainly going to cause businesses to panic and for essentially economic activity to go down. So I suspect it's going to be quite painful for Americans like the rest of the world, at least in the short to medium term.
Yep.
What if most people blink and come around to Trump's way of thinking very quickly? Could it then A, work, and B, be a vindication of what obviously is slightly bully boy tactic?
Bro, if you said to MAGA right now, hey, can we get any volunteers to suck Donald Trump's dick? The most homophobic people would be lining up at the White House, okay, immediately. I'm just saying.
But could those two things happen? I mean, could it be that it works and actually to America's benefit?
Well, it depends what you mean by working.
Blink, true.
I mean, yes, there are countries which will give some concessions. There certainly are businesses that will move a bit more manufacturing into America. And so, yes, it may work in the sense that Trump will be able to claim some short-term victories. However, the more likely reality is that almost every single company, every single country is now looking for alternatives and trying to look for ways to create alliances outside America. And global trade right now is rising quite rapidly, but mostly between countries that are not America rather than with America. So he's playing a very, very high stakes game. And of course, his bet is that the American public will endure the pain in the short term because he says in the medium to long term, it will reorientate the American economy. He's also betting, or at least Peter Navarro, his key advisor, is betting that tariffs will raise about $6 trillion worth of revenues over the next 10 years, and that will essentially help pay down the debt. But both of those are pretty...
How the fuck do you argue against somebody like this? Like, she clearly knows her shit, right? Like, do you just, like, bullshit your way until you reach a good argument against her? Because she's very clearly... She's an economist. How do you beat her? She's like, this is her entire life.
Unproven bets.
It's fucking
over. And in the short to medium term, it's more likely that the rest of the world starts looking for alternatives rather than simply becomes a vassal state.
Yep.
I mean, the one to watch, in my view, is Canada above all else, because Mark...
Oh no, she can keep going. Okay, she can actually keep going all day long. All right,
Carney is a pretty strong character. He's respected by Trump, and he knows he's sitting on the ability to both cut off electricity supplies to.
She should just Cory Booker filibuster. Okay, she should just Cory Buster. She should just Cory Buster her way through this entire fucking
large part of the American voters, but also to blow up Trump's cheap energy policy as well. And I think it's unlikely that he's just going to roll over because he's facing an election.
Piers going, Oh, hello, Belle.
Yeah, I think anything could happen. All right, Cenk. Look, I get the overarching ambition of Trump here, where he wants to bring manufacturing.
Oh my God. If Cenk defends Trump, I'm going to get a rope.
Manufacturing back to the United States. And he's using a very blunt instrument to do it. And he did deploy tariffs reasonably successfully in his first term. I mean, do you agree with the principle?
By the way, I just want to say this also hurts. Okay, people were memeing about the Switch 2, right? The Nintendo Switch 2. Yeah, so like, yeah, I mean, even... Trump is not pro-gamer, okay? Like, maybe this is news to a lot of people, but Trump is not pro-gamer. Okay?
Simple, that America is too riddled with debt. That's got to come down.
He's not pro-gamer.
And it's lost too much manufacturing. That's got to come back. So you may not agree necessarily with what he's doing with the tariffs. I'm sure you don't. But the principle behind it is not necessarily a bad one.
Yeah, as usual, if he did it with a scalpel, it might work, but he's doing it with a hatchet or perhaps with Elon's chainsaw. And that's the problem here. So can reciprocal tariffs work? Yes, but you've got to be careful. And
guys, remember, okay, it's fine to have tariffs for things that you really want to protect, okay? Like if your country is like 90% cow farming, of course you're going to be putting a tariff on cows going into your country. Why the fuck would you need that when your country is primarily known for cow farming? Why the fuck would you need to import other countries' cows into your country if 90% of your country's industry is cow farming, right? So that's an example of a good tariff, because you want people in the country to actually buy the country's own fucking cows, okay? That's the point. But the problem is if you apply tariffs broadly, it's never a good thing. It's never something that you actually want to do, right? So that's going to be the point I'm making. I'm so stoked to bring back coal mining to the USA. Are you ready to bring back chicken farming? Islands with no living people on them aren't tariffing the USA. I'm all in on black lung treatment stocks. Foods is so false here. Kidding. Of course he's pro-gamer, especially those who... He's not pro-gamer. He's not even pro-gamer with the drone operators, probably. I don't know,
which industries you're affecting.
He's
You've
not
got to think it
pro-gamer.
through, strategize. It doesn't look like they did that. So they're just doing it across the board without being surgical, tactical,
Life
or
is
strategic.
hard in the United
So there's a couple of
States.
reasons why they're doing it, but the one is by far the most important. Trump's always liked tariffs. He's always believed that tariffs are going to magically repair everything in the country. No, they're not magic. They have upsides and downsides. In some cases, they make sense to protect manufacturing. In other cases, they don't, because they lead to inflation and stagflation. So number two is he uses it as a negotiating tactic.
Do you know they tariffed islands that have no human presence in them? I mean, they probably asked ChatGPT.
Use that a lot, but now people are starting to call his bluff. And I'm actually a little bit worried that this is actually going to be a stimulus for the rest of the world to unite against us, because they have no choice. Yeah. The European Union, Canada, Mexico, Japan, etc. South Korea will have to say, how are we going to respond to America? How are we going to respond against America? And I don't like them being united against us. I think that's counterproductive. But most importantly, Piers, none of this is going to last. He said, oh, this is going to last for years and years. There's no way that's going to happen. So it's way too much of a hatchet. And it'll hurt the stock market in the short run, the mid run, the long run, etc. His donors will rebel. They're already rebelling, etc. But all of this is actually just a ruse to pass that $4.5 trillion tax cut, because they want to be able to say what you guys just talked about. Oh no, the tariffs will magically bring us $6 trillion over a decade. So don't worry about that $4.5 trillion we're going to funnel to all of our donors, to Elon Musk, to Donald Trump, and to all the richest people in the country, and to corporations. That's what all of this tariff nonsense is about. That's what the gold card nonsense is about. That's what Doge nonsense is all about. It's all to say, oh, don't worry about how we're going to blow up the debt and the deficit by doing another gigantic tax cut for the rich and for corporations.
Piers Morgan Uncensored is now proudly independent. If you like the show, we ask for only one thing. Subscribe on YouTube and follow Piers Morgan Uncensored on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now let's get straight to the point. Support for today's show comes from a business focused on a critical issue: prosperity. US national debt is at crisis levels, inflation has made life more expensive for everybody, and the stock market is precarious. It's enough to make anyone's financial future feel grim. So what is the solution? Well, a simple one is to opt out of the chaos and invest in something solid and reliable: physical gold and silver. And there's only one name you need to remember: American Hartford Gold. This company...
Guys, this is just a pro tip, okay, for life. Any kind of buying gold or selling gold or anybody telling you to do that it's a scam, okay? It's scam.
Companies earn the trust of thousands of customers with an A+
Oh, I mean, it's not a scam. Oh no.
rating from the Better Business Bureau and glowing reviews you can see for yourself. They offer an incredible range of gold and silver bars and coins. They can be delivered directly to your door, or they'll help you set them up in a tax-advantaged gold IRA. First-class customer service makes the whole process simple, secure, and straightforward. American Hartford Gold is committed to getting the truth out there and giving you peace of mind in uncertain times. And if that wasn't enough,
that's the scam. It's not a good investment.
You get up to $15,000 worth of free silver when you make your first
because
purchase
they think it is.
And mention my name, Piers. So make the smart move. Call 866-692-2474 or text Piers, that's P-I-E-R-S, to 65532. That's 866-692-2474 or text Piers, 888-655-32. All the details with the description. Now on with the show.
Thank you, Piers. Wow.
Carrie, I saw you shaking your head repeatedly through Cenk's address to the people there. So why do you disagree with him?
Well, I disagree with a lot of what I've heard. I mean, first of all, it appears when you called it a trade war, that President Trump is starting a trade war. No, he's actually trying to bring about fair trade. We've heard that phrase, fair trade, bantied about quite a bit over the past decades, but it's not been fair at all to America. Look at our manufacturing. It's just been hollowed out, and we've got to
Hey, Loki Coco. Hello. Foodshops, you're so dumb. When they start the execution camps and you try to escape the United States, how are you going to bribe the guards? Dollars? He'll have destroyed the economy already. I'm just curious, okay? Like, when it's fucking Mad Max, right? And your village just fucking underwent a raping, okay? A raping by the local bandit gang. And you've been kidnapped or something. You want to get through the toll gate, okay, of the bullet farmers. Like, what do you offer them? What the fuck do you offer them to bribe them? I don't think it's gold. I don't think it's gonna be gold. It's either gonna be lead for bullets, right? It's either gonna be bullet material, gun parts, or oil cans, like gasoline cans, right? Yeah, pretty much gasoline diesel. It's going to be one of these things. Yeah.
build
drugs,
American manufacturing, not only for our economy and for the hardworking men and women and for Americans. We need jobs and we need to make things here in America, but really for national security as well. I mean, we're making everything in Asia, overseas, in India. We've got to make really important items here, whether it be medicines, whether it be vehicles. We need to do this for our national security. Sure. You know, so much is made in China over the years, an adversary of ours. If they just turn things off to America, for lack of a better term, we're screwed. And President Trump is not just looking out for his donors. First of all, Cenk, he's not running. He's not running for office again, although he could probably very easily win.
He says he is.
He is looking out for the American worker, the American man, the American woman.
Oh, you know, like he's not, oh my, dude. The faces on the other people. She's like the definition of the Giga Chad. The Giga Chad female face.
Who's been out of a job, having to work 2 or 3 jobs
look
just
at her.
to try
She's
to
like fucking
keep up with what used to be a good
so
manufacturing
stoic.
job. And we're going to be seeing manufacturing come back. And let me tell you, as we get rid of some of the jobs here, I call them welfare jobs in the federal government, people making a fortune, hardly doing anything in a federal government job. As we start to move people out of those jobs, we're
Guys, quick chill. Guys, if you guys enjoy the stream, you want to support me, you want to support what I do, whatever, X and Y, drop a like, please. And if you have extra money to spare, yes, even in this horrible economy, especially if you're not American, throw a few dollars my way because I would always enjoy something like that. Thank you so much. All right.
You're going to have a ton of incredible jobs opening up as all of this investment from foreign companies comes in. We're going to be so proud to see made in America on products once again. I applaud President Trump for taking a bold move. This isn't the art of the deal. This is the art of the trade deal. And we've been getting abused by the international community for so long. And, you know, you see it in these trade deals where they make it so it's very negative toward America, but they try to tell us that it looks good, the trade deal's good for us when it hasn't been. This is actually a trade deal that will be good for America. Just you watch. It's going to come back. It's going to come roaring back, and we truly will see the benefits of this, I think, sooner rather than later.
But Carrie, before I get back to you, has he got time? I mean, already you've got massive instability and turbulence in the market. Stock market is heavily down.
Fucking over.
You've got people suffering directly from the consequences of that. A lot of retired people will be very anxious about what's happening.
It's going to be.
Well, you say that, but well, it may be. But
this
what
is the first time
happens
we've ever done
if,
this. This is the first.
Yeah. So why do you think it's going to be short-lived?
It's the first time this has been done. It's good because it's the first time it's going to be done. There's jitters on Wall Street because we've never seen a bold move like this where the American economy, the American worker, American national security has been put first. And the president pointed many times to the Oval Office saying,
Oh, you know what Trump, policies are like? It's like when you take 5 steps back and and we take 1 step forward and they're like, see, it works. You take 5 steps back, you take 1 step forward, they'll say it works, and then somewhere off in the distance, Hitler dies, and they're like, see, we killed Hitler with this policy. This is the equivalency that's going on, okay? This is how the policies are enacted in the Trump administration.
it was my predecessors sitting in that office that left us in the position we're in. We don't have a choice. Just remember, the debt that this country is facing right now, $37 trillion in debt. We saw the inflation spike up under Joe Biden. President Trump is bringing inflation down. Of course, there's going to be jitters when people try to figure out how this is going to affect them. I believe it will be at short term, and we'll see things level out. Not only level out, but it'll take the burden off of the.
I do like Piers and Chink are twins today. Yeah, they're. I wonder if that's planned. They looks like the same.
Worker will be able to keep more money in our pockets when
Long-lost
the Trump
brothers.
tax cuts come and help relieve
United
some of that pressure
come.
on the American worker. Our backs are breaking. And over the last 60 days or so, the American people have watched in horror as we've uncovered the way they're wasting money right here in Washington, D.C., where I'm sitting. I'm overseeing an agency right now where the most egregious, unbelievable waste of American taxpayer dollars is happening. And the American people have had it. Thank God for President Trump coming in and saying, we're going to just ask for fairness in trade. I mean, you guys are acting like he's denying the ability for another country to come in and sell their products.
The Economist on the right is already starting to lose it.
Here. He's just saying, let's make it fair. You charge us 50%, we'll charge you 50%. You charge us 0, we'll charge you 0. And better yet, bring your manufacturing, bring your company into America. You'll pay 0 in taxes. You'll save on the freight charges, and you will have access to the greatest consumer the world has ever known, the American consumer. Nobody wants to give up on the American consumer.
Okay, Batir, look, I can see arguments on all sides of this, but the
okay, wait.
concern I would have if I was Donald Trump is that the turbulence at the moment is pretty extreme. And
oh my God, Jeremy, thank you.
Just a drink. A martini, shaken, not stirred.
It's $30.
Thank you, Jeremy. That's mighty kind of you. Thank you for the $30. To be $30 after the US takes over Canada, of course. Okay, well, that makes back $30 of my $50 buy for the premium currency in Zenless. So, cool.
we've already got a pretty
Thank you.
hesitant economy fueled by a long-standing cost of living crisis. People are already feeling the pinch, millions of people, tens of millions. And this is coming at the worst possible time for them, this kind of turbulence. This has to work, and it has to work quickly, or it could turn out to be a very dangerous and reckless roll of the dice.
What I find so frustrating about the conversation around tariffs is that we all agree on the problem. We all agree that the deindustrialization of America
Jeez Louise, egghead. Who the fuck let your mom onto Piers Morgan?
led to the downward mobility of the American working class, deaths of despair, people working multiple jobs and not being able to afford the American dream. We all agree that it is deeply unfair for the American middle class to be bearing the burden of unfair tariffs from other countries. We all agree that it is great for the president to have leverage in order to demand reasonable things, like that countries stop allowing fentanyl to murder 100,000 Americans.
Wait, what? She's unhinged. Oh no, she's quite crazier. She's crazy. Wait. She's even crazier than I remembered. She's even crazier than I remembered.
Americans every year, and that Mexico do its part to police its own border. And yet when somebody has the courage to show up and say to Wall Street, screw you, I am waging war. I am waging class warfare on behalf of the American working class. And you elites in Wall Street, you do what you need to do because I'm not going to stop fighting for the American working class. Suddenly, everybody is sitting around going, oh no, the stock market. Yeah, the stock market looks like that because the rich are punishing Trump for siding with the neglected and humiliated American working class over them. We have already seen these tariffs work, Pierce. The number of people crossing the southern border is at 0. Fentanyl is at record lows for the last 10 years. We have already seen $1.2 trillion in manufacturing invested in this country since January 21st. So they have already worked. Now, how long is Wall Street going to keep trying to punish this president for standing the American working class? I don't know, but I can tell you that the view from the street is people cannot believe that there is a president who is working for them, who is putting them first and telling Wall Street to go screw itself. Wall Street, which picked the Democrats for the last 3 election cycles in a row. That's what the real story is here.